You're listening to the 49 Carats Podcast, a 49ers Goldmine production with Stephanie Sanchez.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the 49 Carats Podcast. I'm your host, Steph. It is Thursday, January 9th. Joining me again on a Thursday is Monica. Monica, it's been so long since we've spoken, holidays, New Year's, all that. Did you have a great time off, great break with your family?
I'm one of those people where I'm just glad it's over. I hate that the world shuts down. I am a keep going kind of a person, and this whole I can't do anything till January 6th. It drives me nuts. So I'm happy to be back.
Okay, yeah, you're locked in for the new year.
I'm not a Grinch, but I'm close.
It kind of sounds like you're a bit of a workaholic, but there's nothing wrong with that.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, I don't know what to do if I don't work.
You're a grinder. I love it. But obviously there's been so much that has happened since the last time we spoke. I mean, the 49ers season didn't end any better than the last time that we spoke. That's for sure. But due to that, there's been a lot of changes that have happened to this team, particularly with the coaches, right? So we know that Nick Sorensen has been relieved of his defensive coordinator duties, right? I don't want to say fired because he wasn't really fired. He's still under contract. The 49ers want to find a way to keep him. How did you feel about that news and the 49ers wanting to find some role for him still?
I think it had to be done. And I think it's a huge problem for the Niners that they need to fix ongoing. And I've talked about this before, and I don't know how to do it, but I do believe that we have to find a way to keep our coordinators that work. I understand that these coordinators want to be head coaches, but as many of them are finding out, it's not always the grass is greener as a head coach. Yeah. More stress, less wins. Let's be honest, very few go on to be great coaches with great records. So, but I can't fault somebody for wanting to go to the next level. But if I'm the Niners organization, it would be something that I think we would be talked about. Like, hey, we're bringing you on. We want a Super Bowl. We want multiple. Can you come along for the ride? We know as soon as we get into the playoffs, people are going to want to interview you. I want to hire and have a conversation of, yes, we're going to make it in to the Super Bowl next year. Yes, we're going to win. Are you going to stay the year after?
Because you want someone that stays. Right?
I want longevity. I do.
Yeah.
I want a little bit of longevity. And whether or not it's his fault, Spagnuolo on the Chiefs, I mean, he's been their guy for 5 years. There's something to be said about having a coordinator that is winning, staying. And I know it's hard because, DeMeco Ryans left. He was amazing.
Yeah.
Robert Saleh left. He was amazing. Mike McDaniels. So I just feel like I would like some sort of a contract with a little bit of something in play where as soon as we do great, you're not gone, So I don't know. Maybe I'm asking too much, Steph. Maybe I'm asking too much. I'm always asking too much.
I'm with you. And so when one of the names that came out, and it's a name that we're all familiar with, that the 49ers are interested in, that is former defensive coordinator Robert Saleh, that was kind of the thought that came into my head because it's kind of twofold, right? Usually you see the defensive coordinators who become head coaches. It doesn't work out for them. It turns out that they're not that good as head coaches. They end up going back to being a defensive coordinator, and that's usually where they get to stay for a long time. That's happened with Steve Spagnuolo, Jim Schwartz. I can name a bunch of other guys that are in that situation where you kind of do have long-term defensive coordinators now because teams aren't interested in them as head coaches anymore. It's we've seen that. We don't like it. You're good. You can stay where you are.
Right.
And so when I heard Robert Saleh, I was like, I love Saleh. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I do love the vibe, the energy that he brings. Obviously, the 49ers were a good defensive team when he was around. But that is my concern because as of right now, even after his stint with the Jets and how that didn't work out, he is getting head coaching interviews this cycle. You know, the Jags are interested. The Raiders are interested. There might be a third team that's interested, right? So who's not to say that, you know, if the 49ers do end up hiring him as a defensive coordinator because he doesn't get any head coaching positions, let's just say theoretically, who's to say that he won't accept the head coaching position the following year, right? We don't.
Right.
We really don't.
That's my point. Exactly. We as an organization, I feel like we need to not be so reactive and just get like our 1 year Super Bowl. I mean, I would like to see somebody who wants to come along for the ride, who's happy but pay him well, pay him good enough to stay.
I kind of think that's it. That's got to be part of it. Like money talks. I mean, there's a scenario in which like someone could be getting paid so much money where they're at that even a promotion may make you think a little bit, second guess that, or think about it twice, because the situation that you're in is good. It's a situation that's familiar. The 49ers, right? You're getting paid handsomely. You could get paid more as a head coach, but we know how that could possibly go. Like there are bad organizations out there that end up firing coaches after 1 season, 2 seasons. I mean, Robert Saleh knows that already, like with how it went with the Jets. So I think I have to imagine he's probably looking for something specific as well in a head coaching job. It has to be something stable for him. And so I think maybe that's part of it too, that if the 49ers did hire him, he'd be a little more selective as to a head coaching position that he would take. In turn, that would probably mean that he'd stay a little bit longer. I mean, that's the hope, right? But yeah, I'm with you. That's definitely my concern with Saleh, you know, being an option, that he would be gone after a season. And if you win a Super Bowl in that 1 season, hey, who cares, right? Like I've seen a lot of people say that. Like I don't care what happens after we win a Super Bowl, right? Like but yeah, the question is, what if we don't win a Super Bowl? Then we're back to square one, scrambling, looking for a defensive coordinator again.
Yeah.
So that's definitely part of my concern. And so, yeah, and Robert Saleh is just one option for the 49ers. There are things that Kyle Shanahan is looking for in a defensive coordinator. And when he was speaking with the media yesterday, he kind of talked about some of those qualities a little bit. So here's what he had to say. Let me just get this slide up. Ooh. You guys see the slides? I'm like,
not yet.
Oh, here we go. I don't know why it's not showing up. Oh, there we go. All right. So what Shanahan is looking for in a defensive coordinator, he said, quote, "I'm looking for a guy who I think will fit with our team the best. I like to sit and talk to guys about our personnel. I want to obviously talk to someone about their plans schematically and what they like to do. But that's all great. What do you plan to do with our team?" And that's when it involves certain people in terms of when they look at what we have, what they think we need going forward, what we've got to go get. And I think like this also kind of goes hand in hand with, hey, like now you've had 2 failed defensive coordinators that haven't worked out. Do you think that gives Kyle Shanahan a better idea of what he doesn't want in a defensive coordinator and like solidifies what he definitely wants?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I hope so. You know, I hope he's an offensive guy, right? I don't know that defense is his thing. I don't know if the special teams is his thing. Like his thing is offense. So, and that's a whole nother story, right? What up, faithful? So I think moving forward, we probably see it one way. He sees it another. But here's the thing. I think the do's and don'ts is, I don't know. Like, what are they looking for? I mean, really, like, I'm so confused at this point. Here's the thing. I went to one game this year, which is not normal, and it was the best game. Yeah. It was the best game for me to ever go to, and that was the first one, right? The Jets. Yeah. That was the best, and that was the best we ever looked. By the way, that was and I was so excited after that game. I fucking lit my cigar, just like, here we go. I should do a reel on that, but I can't even. I would be like, no. But my point is, I remember thinking at that game that Nick was going to be all right. But I never saw that defense the same after that game. So, I mean, listen, we have amazing players who are not gelling on both sides of the ball. Now Greenlaw's probably going to be gone from the post that his girlfriend put up, possibly. I don't know if you saw that. Hargrave doesn't look like he's coming back. Tufanga, isn't his contract, isn't he up this year?
Yep.
Okay. So we got a lot of decisions to make, and for the love of God, I hope we do them on time so that if we learned anything as an organization, you got to have all these contracts buttoned up, sewed up, so that everybody is in mini camp and training camp. None of this off-field crap can we afford this year. Our guys need to be locked in. They need to know who's to the left of them, who's to the right of them, who's going to be my guy. No more of what we went through last year, because we saw what that did. And I will forever blame 2024 season. I'm not even going to say it. I'm just going to say we got to get locked in a timely manner.
Yeah, I agree. And Greenlaw, we know his future is still a little uncertain, but I think it does seem like he's going to go to free agency, and then they'll kind of reassess the situation. Can we afford him based on what the market is willing to pay him? This, that, and the third. There seems to be mutual interest, of course, in a reunion, obviously, but yeah, that would be a big loss for the 49ers. But in terms of timing and decisions, that kind of it's a domino effect. Some moves do relate to others, and that's kind of what Kyle Shanahan said when talking about making the decision on Greenlaw. And a lot of these decisions happen over the course of the offseason. One of the big decisions, the biggest domino that has to fall, I think, is Brock. He's one of the biggest ones that has to happen this offseason, right? And there's going to be a lot of money tied to that I think you kind of want to see what that looks like first before you start making decisions on other guys. So that's a challenge.
And George.
I hope they get an extension figured out with George. And I actually think from the money standpoint, it would work out better for them if they did, because, he can go back to a lower cap hit for the, first couple years of a new deal. And that would give them more flexibility. So I hope they get something done. I think with the way his season went this season, just give him whatever he wants at this point. I want him to be a Niner for the rest of his career. Sounds like that's what he wants.
They have to. They got to make it happen. Steph, if they let go of George, it will be, I will pick it. I will pick it. There's no way that they'll do that. This is another Jerry Rice. This is another Montana at his position. There's not even a question. He's a Hall of Famer, and he's a staple of the Niners, period. End of story. It's not even a question. So let's get it done, Niners. Let's get it done. But yeah, we have got a lot of missing pieces that we're going to have to put together. And I'm going to say this. I don't know if you know this, but I have always said, since our last Super Bowls where we have lost, I believe every single time, I know that this is probably not going to make sense to people, but it does to me. I'm weird like this. We were in white jerseys. Okay.
I know where you're going.
Yeah. We need to be in our red jerseys, home team at Levi Stadium, and we will win the next Super Bowl. Hands down. Soon as we get in that red jersey, we are going to win the Super Bowl. Mark my words. Save this clip. The minute we're in red jerseys, we are not supposed to win the Super Bowl in white jerseys. It's not supposed to happen. We got to be in red. And I believe that we were meant to win it at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara in front of our own fans. I will stand by that.
You know that the 49ers, because of how bad this season went for them and the strength of schedule they had this year, all that,
right?
They're going to have an easy strength of schedule in 2025. And what I've said is, like, I think that just means the 49ers need to kind of go all in for 2025. Do what you need to do to, lock 100%. Back in, get all the pieces back in order. And let's get back into it.
Ty says, if they don't sign George, we're going to riot. I will start the petition. You don't even know. I'm with you. But I'm telling you, we got to rock the red jersey. Okay? And yes. Niners, I think I need to be on the sideline. If you want the W, every time I'm on this, like, close, we win. When I'm not there, we lose. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, and we've mentioned it so many times that, Super Bowl 60 is going to be played at Levi Stadium. I mean, I don't know. Things are kind of lining up. But the 49ers, Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, they have to get this team back there. So, the one thing that, they might be onto something, they're looking forward to having an entire offseason, right? Because I think at different times in that presser yesterday, they kind of talked about how, when you're, for one, like, looking for a defensive coordinator in February when everyone else has already hired people is tough. Another thing is, like, the rest factor. You barely get any rest when you're one of the last teams in it, right? Which the 49ers have been for the last couple of seasons before this one. So I think they're kind of taking this time to, one, like, reevaluate this team. Yeah, and they have to, right? Like, there's no better time than now, and this extra time that they have. And, John Lynch said, quote, in a sense, it kind of energizes you to come back and have this time to really put our minds and our staff's minds together to come out with the best, to give us the best opportunity to compete going forward, end quote. So I mean, I hope that the extra time that they have really does give them, not just the opportunity. We know they're going to have the opportunity to do that, but I hope, like, they do find the answers. Like, it's got to be in free agency. It's got to be in the draft. It's got to be in the people you bring back. All those things. It's a giant puzzle, and they got to make it fit perfectly. So it is a challenge.
Just checking. I believe Moody's still on the team as of right now, right? I have
Jake Moody, yes. So Brian Schneider's gone. Jake Moody's still on the team. So, I mean, what do you think happens there? Because I kind of think that they'll let Moody compete in camp, but you also, because you fired your special teams coordinator, like, will the special teams coordinator have a say in a kicker at all?
Nightmare. Okay. Whew, where do I begin? Can we get a seat at the table, please? And just be like, hey, guys, I know that I didn't play football. Thank you. Yeah. Hey, guys, I just want to be like, I know I never played a game in my life. I got that. But I have watched ever since my eyes were open. Okay. And for the love of God, this draft is going to be pivotal to us succeeding come 2025.
Yeah.
And we cannot take a kicker in the first round or the second round or the third round. Like, people are finding kickers at the grocery store. We cannot spend money on a kicker. We've got to find that diamond in the rough. Are you with me on this? Like,
and I'm still laughing at finding kickers in the grocery store because it's true. But like,
I'm just saying, we are like, why are we like losing draft picks on a kicker? Yeah. This is insane. No, we got to learn from our mistakes. Okay. And sadly, I don't know what's wrong with Moody. I have no idea what may be going on behind the scenes. I'm a big person. I'm a person that believes like whatever's going in your personal life, we may not know. I don't know what that is. There could be struggles there that are affecting him on the field, but we can't have missed kicks. We cannot have missed extra points. It affects the game entirely. It affects, we have problems in the red zone. If we have let's do the math, people. If we can't get in the red zone and we can't have field goals, we're not going anywhere. Like, let's, like, as simple as that is, ABC. Like, if we can't get in the red zone and then we can't rely on our kicker, we ain't going nowhere. Yeah. Right? So we've got to fix the special teams. It killed us this year. I saw a stat yesterday that if we would have won every game that we lost by like one, field goal or touchdown within one score, we would have ended up, I think, 10-8. I mean, we've got it. Kickers matter. And by the looks of Moody, I'm concerned because I feel like he has lost his confidence, and it's very hard to get that back. And I don't know if you can get that back in the offseason. And to be honest, as an organization, I don't know if I have time to give you a chance.
Yeah.
Right. And the way I looked at it is your chance was the last 4 games and you blew it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He needed to be nailed.
He needed to prove that he was back. He needed to prove that he could make the kicks that we needed him to make, and he didn't. And he knew it. You could see, I felt so bad for him, though. You could see when they missed, you could just see he's deflated, bro.
Yeah, deflated. I know. So that's the thing. Like, I agree with you. I don't think that's something that gets fixed overnight or even in an off season. I mean, maybe, but I think it requires a very strong mental state. And obviously, like, that's not where he's at. He admitted, like, in one of the post game pressers or talking to the media after a game, like, he admitted that. So that's tough. I mean, we know, we see it. He admitted it. And yeah, I think at this point, the best thing for him is a change of scenery, because look, where the 49ers drafted him, he was always going to be under immense pressure. And the 49ers put him in that situation. Like, you can't blame him for having all this pressure. Now, he hasn't handled the pressure very well, so maybe that is a little bit on him, but
I think we have to move away. Honestly, we don't have the time. We don't have the time to be like, hey, did you get it together yet? We need new blood. We need a new, I see you, Ty. We need a new coordinator. We need a new kicker. We need a new vibe. It is what it is. And if we need a backup, we got your number saved. But like, I just feel like we need new juju in the building, and we can't have people that look defeated. And this is going to be a huge, me, I'm always like, okay, here's what we're going to do. Everybody go be with your families. But then we are all going to go to the Kittles. We're going to have a ranch powwow. We're going to join hands and kumbaya. And we're going to get that vibe back together, and all of that feeling negativity that we had this year. We got to shake it off and get ready, because at the end of the day, we have a chance for redemption. Mm-hmm. Redemption. Mm-hmm. We ended up last. The only way to go from here is up. See, Steph, I need to be in the building. I need to motivate these guys. I can do it, right, Ty? I can do this. Let me at them.
Yeah, you sure can. Maybe special teams coordinator. Like maybe we should put you
Let's
there.
go.
And I did like this comment from Ty. He says, new special teams coordinator, whoever they hire, will bring specialists to compete for the job. Long snapper, punter, and kicker. I won't be shocked if that's the case. Because not just Jake Moody, we can stand to be better at punter as well. They were getting punters off the street, like two of them, Presley Harvin and then Pat O'Donnell, that I think both were better than Mitch Wishnowsky. So there needs to be competition
a
all
soccer
around.
player. Go get me a soccer player who barely makes what? They barely make any money. Like, they'd be happy to get our minimum. Like, come on, like, somebody who's our scouts. Let's get our scouts going. Let's start looking in those grocery stores, Trader Joe's, wherever we got to go, and let's get us. But we'll pay you when we hit the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, they're working for free now?
No, we don't want it for free, but we're definitely looking for a discount.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we could pay them more than they're getting at the grocery store, surely. So
yeah.
At the very least. All right, there's this one quote from John Lynch that I wanted to get your thoughts on it, and it was not controversial, but there were some thoughts on this one, so let me just share it with everyone.
Yeah, I you don't want to have excuses. A lot of our finishers weren't out there, and then on top of it, we still had opportunities. We still put ourselves in good position, and we couldn't get it done. So we have to own that as a team. That's why we're 6-11. We have a high standard. We had high expectations. We fell short of that, and it's our job to fix that. And I know that Kyle and I are committed as we've ever been to doing just that. We don't plan on being in this place. Don't like it. It's terrible to sit home and watch something that you expect yourself to be in the tournament. And we're going to go about the work, and we're excited about the work to do just that. But I do believe we have finishers on this team, and got to continue to add to that. We got to continue to infuse youth and good football players to this team, and we'll do that.
All right. So he kind of said that he mentioned injuries. A lot of our finishers we didn't have available. Do you think that this is a good enough excuse as to why this team didn't finish? And he didn't say that was the whole reason. He did go on to kind of explain that it was a little more than that. But it did kind of feel like, for the most part, he felt like that was too big of a hurdle to overcome. So are you buying that like how much injuries had an impact on this season?
I think that the injuries absolutely played a part, but I'm a big believer in mental toughness and mental I guess being a team, and I don't feel that we were a team this year. And I always say, we got to look at our own part. So I don't blame it all on the fact that we had injuries. I also think that the organization learned a valuable lesson last year, where we can't have discord on the off season. We can't have individuals that are making waves. Doesn't work. It doesn't work when it comes to be in the locker room. And I stand by that. And it's not anyone's fault, really, but when you go on the off season and you are in a battle essentially with one of your key players month after month after month, you don't think that plays a role into the mentality of your other players? Because if I'm a player, I'm like, bro's trying to get his bag. Now I'm kind of upset because I didn't do like. There's so many, and the players will never say that, but it does. You want to have your teams back, but then you want to have your guys back who you throw to or that you block for. You put the whole team in a really weird position in the offseason mentally. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I definitely feel like there was a different vibe. And I don't want to say it at the time, like at training camp, because, like, I don't know, from day to day, it didn't feel like the vibes were any different, like guys still playing football and things like that. But there were days in training camp where it just felt like there was a cloud over the heads of everyone. Like it just felt there were weird days.
And the thing is, and you can't blame it on one person. You can't blame it on just the team. It's a collective thing. Everybody has to take responsibility for their part in that. And I'm sure that even the individuals, like Trent said, like, I didn't want to hold out anymore. Like, I want to go. I want to be there for my team.
Yeah.
You know, like at some point, I just hope this year they learn from last year that it really does. It is a domino effect when you have contracts that aren't signed, right? And so we have no excuse. I'll say this. We have no excuse at this point. We've got extra time, as they just said, right? We have zero excuse to get the numbers right, to get the contracts in, to get these agents to agree, and be ready to go for 2025. Like, Ty and I will riot. Stephanie will get you going as well.
Hand me a pitchfork.
Steph. So I'm really excited though, because I think we're going to be dealing with players that want the best for the entire team as well. So Brock as a person, I know he has an agent and I got all that, but at the end of the day, they're still going to ask Brock, what do you want to do? Right? The agent can be the biggest asshole in the world or be money hungry, but at the end of the day, they're going to always go, Brock, what do you want to do? Brock's going to tell his agent what he wants them to do. And I think we're going to be dealing with somebody who is humble. He knows what he wants. And so I feel like we should be able to wrap up the contracts. George is the same way, right? George is a treasure, humble captain. He knows, he saw what happened. He's not going to do that to us. No way. I would be beyond shocked. But he's going to get what he deserves. And he's going to do what's good for the team as well, because at the end of the day, that guy wants and deserves a ring. So he's not going to let money, I don't think, come in between what is best for the ultimate goal. And the ultimate goal is to win that trophy, right? So I just to answer your question, did injuries play a part? Absolutely. But I also think the vibe of the locker room did us zero favors. And then it was just a domino effect. You can't, how, we had two deaths, Trent, children, and I don't know if we saw that. We talked about Ward saying like, he might not want to come back because it's just too painful to be in California. And you know what? I wouldn't be mad at him for that. His wife literally hasn't gone back to California because she just can't. So Ward might be gone just based off the fact that my family we can't, it's too painful and we might lose him. And how can you even fault him for that? We would absolutely wish him well. So there's things that were just out of our control.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, as much as we love football, some things are bigger than football. Right. So, I'm hoping for the best for Ward and his family. And, I'm excited for the future. I think we're going to be okay. I think we're going to learn from our mistakes. Now, who is our trainer? Because we have way too many freaking injuries. Can we look at that position and be what's going on?
The year prior, though, when they went to the Super Bowl, like they were healthy. I think with injuries, like a part of it is luck. I think in years past, there have been reoccurring injuries of the same type, like a lot of soft tissue injuries. Oh, everyone had a high ankle sprain one season. Like everyone had ACLs or, like there were a lot of reoccurring themes with injuries, which I think like you could look at that and be like, okay, like that's got to be something we're not doing right. This season, it was kind of a hodgepodge of like different injuries. And so I had to imagine that for the most part, it's just bad luck and it's football,
But Steph, the Chiefs had a ton of injuries. So we can't blame it all on injuries. And there's a mentality, there is a culture that was in the Patriots organization. They lost so many players and it was always next man up, Patriots way. And they proved over and over and over that even when they had, when they were down on players and the roster wasn't looking good, they always had somebody to just step right in. So the depth chart is also important. And again, I still go back to vibe. We've got these incredible football players. If the vibe ain't right, shit don't matter.
Yeah.
So it's that a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You have to be good and you have to be lucky, right? And together, usually that's a good combination. There's a little bit of luck involved, right? Where we just get through without any major injuries. But there's also like, we have to be good. We have to expect excellence. We have to have the number 2 ready, number 3 ready. Joshua Dobbs looked good to me, right? Like, where did Brandon Allen come from? Like, what? Where was that decision? Like, what is happening?
Hey, you don't need to tell me. And like we actually did find out later too that it was Clay Kubiak who was calling plays in week 18. So maybe that had a little something to do with it as well. But no, you're not wrong. I mean, I think a lot of fans wanted to see Dobbs over Brandon Allen. I don't understand the obsession with Brandon Allen from this team, but I mean,
weird.
Both of them are free agents, by the way. Upcoming. Okay. So we'll see.
Can you explain this to me, Steph? Because I looked this up because I was like, wait a minute. Like I've got so much going on right now. Play caller, offensive coordinator, right?
Yeah.
It's a very thin difference, right? So what does that mean? Is Kyle going to give Kubiak the reins? I don't think so. Is he just gonna like oversee it? You know what I'm saying? What are we doing here?
Yeah, and I think the reason that for some it was a little alarming, I guess you could say, to see that Clay Kubiak was going to be offensive coordinator. I think and that he was calling plays. Is Kyle giving up play calling? Like, is that what's happening? And no, like typically most teams, the offensive coordinator is the guy that's going to be calling plays. But, that's Kyle's thing. It has been Kyle's thing. It will never stop being Kyle's thing. And he pretty much reaffirmed that in the. Remember Mike McDaniel, before he left to the Dolphins for a head coach gig, he was an offensive coordinator for the 49ers as well. And it's going to be the same role for Clay Kubiak, where he's going to have that title because it's, it's good for the resume. It's good for exposure to other teams and things like that. And then Kyle said he's pretty much going to have the same job and same role that he's been, but now just with the offensive coordinator. So what has Clay Kubiak's role been? Well, he kind of just said like he's been helping out with game planning and ideation of things throughout the week and calling plays, consultation in that regard. So it doesn't seem like anything's really changing. But
so basically how I look. So basically, as I look at it, it's like I'm the manager, you're my assistant manager, but I'm still making the calls, right? That's like in a simple world, right? So we can give you the title, but I'm still making all the decisions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kyle has the final say in pretty much everything with this team. So, yeah, I mean, and I think that's good. I mean, it's good that, this team continues to build up their coaches, their assistant coaches, to give them more exposure. And, we know it's been a great place for other teams to look for coaches, and you can understand why. Now, before you go, because I know we got a couple minutes left with you here, I wanted to talk about this one. So Deebo Samuel is expected back. At least that's what John Lynch said. But I want to talk about how this conversation went down, because it came after they were talking about Javon Hargrave and how, he's going to be released. And so then he was asked a follow-up. And with Deebo's situation, that's what John Lynch was asked. And with Deebo's situation, And John Lynch said Deebo's under contract. So, and yes, he literally is under contract. Like, what, for one, like, what situation are you talking about? Maybe they should have been a little more specific. And then it was followed up with, do you expect him, Deebo, back? That's when John Lynch said, yeah, a good player and has done a ton for this organization, and we're not in the business of letting good players out of here. So, I kind of felt like it wasn't as definitive of an answer as some people like who were relaying the quotes on social media made it seem. Because yeah, I mean, Deebo is under contract. Like, so what else is John Lynch supposed to say? So what's your read on this? Like, do you feel like this is a resounding vote of confidence that Deebo's definitely going to be back in 2025? Or do you feel like there was room left to potentially make a move and move off of him this offseason as well?
I mean, I think that right now they can't say anything different, first of all.
Exactly.
You know, and it's never smart to show your cards, right? This early in the game. But I honestly, they said it themselves. Every position is going to be looked at, right? So there's mixed messages, right? Like every position is going to be looked at, but this guy's not going anywhere. If I'm the organization, I'm looking at it like, you know what? I go back to the following the season before, right? We almost won the Super Bowl with Deebo. We almost won it with Ayuk. So the key players, if they didn't do like like barring anything major, they're probably going to want to keep those guys that almost won that Super Bowl, that contributed, right? And if they can do it without, costing us a lot of money on caps, all that good stuff, I think that they're probably going to want to stay with those guys versus bringing in more blood. The wide receiver position, I feel like Ricky started to show his greatness, right? I think towards the last couple of games. I'd like to see him, Jawan. Listen,
yeah, they didn't say enough about him.
Girl, I've been talking about him for a couple seasons. Like ever since he came on the scene, you're like, dude, this guy is it, right? So can Deebo contribute? Absolutely. I just feel like they're gonna want to have Deebo there and Ayuk together again. It's a vibe thing, right? Kittle. I feel like they're gonna want to keep some of those key guys, but if anything happens on the offseason, there's a deal out there that we just can't refuse.
Yeah.
Then I wouldn't be surprised if they have to backtrack that statement.
I don't think they'll go out of their way to get rid of him. Like, I don't see a release, but I do think they will make it known, like, hey, like, you want to trade for him? Anyone interested in a lightly used Deebo Samuel? Like that, and we're going to hear those rumors again, Monica. I think we are around draft time. We'll probably hear that again. And so we'll see if they, eventually swing a trade. But yeah, I don't agree that they should run it back just based on vibes. I think like they need to evolve, continue to evolve. You drafted Pearsall. He looked
you
good.
Say that, Steph, but I worry that sometimes we don't like we've made some decisions, some spotty decisions based off of not performance sometimes, if that makes sense. Like
that's the thing. I don't like that.
So, I know.
Deebo's performance has not been that great this year.
No, 100%. But then you have to go, well, our whole team, besides Kittle and Jawan, are suspect.
As they should be, though. Like, it's kind of like what you said they said. Every position is going to be evaluated. It needs to be, right? So, yeah, they have a long off season to do it. And hopefully they get the right pieces in place so they could run it back for this 2025 season because, like I said, there's some things that have fallen in place for the 49ers' favor in 2025, but they got to do the rest. And the rest is the tough part, but we'll see what this team does. Monica, I just want to say, as we wind down the show, it's been a pleasure to have you on. And, you know, two women talking football is also always rare, but it's always great. And, you know, I think people in the comments have enjoyed your sense of humor and, you know, the way you think about this team is awesome. So I've really enjoyed having your perspective on this show this season. The season didn't go the way we wanted it to, but, you know, I've enjoyed having you on here on the show, 49 Carats.
Thank you for asking me. Thank you. Like you said, it's not normal for you know, two girls just talking football. I've enjoyed you as well, and just giving me a platform to be as crazy and honest as possible. I love seeing your fandom, and you've been doing this a long time, and that's what Football is Sexy is about, right? Is women who walk that walk and talk that talk. So you are that, have been that, and will continue to be that. And I'm excited for next year. We'll see what next year brings, and thank you to all your listeners, and I appreciate everybody. So, all right, stay on, follow Football Sexy, check out the merch. It's amazing.
FootballIsSexy.com, and you can also find that on Instagram. That's my dad. So my dad watches all my shows, and, you know, he always gives me feedback on. Am I still connected? You guys still hear me? Okay. Yeah. He gives me feedback on, like, you know, how the shows are, and, you know, he's nothing but good things to say about you and your perspective as well. So,
and what,
yeah,
we'll
it's been great.
We'll have to link up at a
Most
game.
Definitely.
Like,
Most
by
definitely.
the way, we have an event coming. It's almost inked, and you've got to be there.
What is it? Can you give us like a sneak peek or a little teaser?
First. Okay, so I'll give you a sneak peek. Football is Sexy is bringing all fans together, all women fans together under one roof. And we are really close to inking that. It will be in the off season. All teams are going to be invited. So you're going to have all these crazy women fans, not just Niner fans, from different teams. And we're going to have a day together. I've got some cool people that I think are going to be a part of it. It's going to be groundbreaking, honestly. So I'm dying to let you know the date and who's involved, but I can't yet. But it's going to be worth the wait. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and it's close to happening.
I think that's awesome. I can't wait to see the details for that, and because it's all about community at the end of the day. And you know, even though some of us have different teams that we root for, I mean, we still all love football. So that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Thank you, Monica, so much for like what you do with Football is Sexy too. It's awesome. And so again, everyone that's tuning in, make sure you guys check that out. It's on Instagram as well. Football is Sexy app, footballissexy.com. So yeah, man, definitely do that. And Monica, keep grinding, because everything that you do is for a purpose, and like you have grown this brand so much. And I mean, that's a testament to your hard work. So keep it up. Gonna be rooting for you, just like we do the Niners.
Thank you, girl. And likewise, and I will see you soon.
Appreciate you. Appreciate everyone that tuned in all this season. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Hit that notification bell so you know when I go live. We're going into the off season now, so the content's going to be a little more random and spread out here and there. That's the best way to know when I'll be going live. So hit that. And audio listeners, leave a rating, leave a review. But for now, have a good rest of your Thursday, folks. Peace.